On this week's episode of the Modern Dealer Podcast, David and I are discussing the Corn 15. I let David know one thing I know for certain. We find out why the Queen is wearing an MDP t-shirt, and we discuss one way that you can get 350 one-star reviews. All that and more on this week's episode of the Modern Dealer Podcast. Welcome in to episode 042 of the Modern Dealer Podcast. My name is David Farmer with Entice, and with me remotely is David Bertoncini. What is happening, David?
Hey, so I've got my mask on because it's mandatory. If you go outside out in public, not here in Pinellas County, but where my sister lives in Miami, you gotta have a mask on. Yeah. But man, it's getting kind of tight though. It's one of these new habits, man. You never know. But I got a stylish one.
It is nice. I had to ask, did you make it yourself? Did you buy it? Did you get it on Amazon? What's the deal here?
I did get it on Amazon, but it looks like when you take it off, it does look like a pair of underwear. I was a little confused when I grabbed it. I almost grabbed the wrong thing.
That's funny.
So, definitely something different. But the only thing that sucks about the mask, clearly, is you can't drink any of that fine homebrewed coffee.
Nope, you surely can.
That we love to endower on and such. But today's coffee is other than the Nescafe, but I have to make this episode sponsored by coffee M&Ms. How about that, man? These things are awesome. I do love coffee M&Ms, and they're hard to find.
Well, I think everybody is putting on their Corn 15, right? Everybody is just eating and eating and eating. It's hard not to, right?
It's definitely hard not to. I mean, but I'm gonna just go ahead and mow down a fistful of these these guys right here. They only come in two colors. There's no red and greens. There's only like a tan and brown. So
there you go. Okay.
Yeah. So they got quite the coffee kick to them. I don't think there's any coffee value to them, but I want to pretend it is, and it's like it's doing some coffee good for me. Yeah,
and free of calories, right?
No, it's 140 per serving, and there's like
per a handful.
I don't know how many servings. Yeah, maybe a handful's a serving. Who knows?
Yeah.
Anyways, what's up with you?
Well, you know what? It's absolutely insane what we're going through right now. So many crazy things happening, but there is one thing that I can tell you for certain. And that is that Carol Baskin absolutely killed her husband and fed him to the tigers.
That is for sure, because, as of Sunday night, today's Tuesday and we're recording. So Sunday was the, what was it, the 12th? So that had the final part of the Tiger King, which was basically just interviews, but everybody in the interview, everyone said, oh yeah, she killed him and fed him to lions. And it's so funny how it's just sparked so much fun online. I mean, it's something, it's our entertainment right now is to try to find more reasons why Carol's guilty. So definitely a good time.
I guess Joel McHale is getting a lot of backlash from the fans of the Tiger King documentary, which I thought he did a fine job.
Right. It seems to be every time you put in, is it, Joel? Whose name do you put in Google and it comes up the nanny first? Is it Joel?
Oh,
or Jeff?
no. Well,
that's
Joel
Jeff.
McHale. Yeah, that's Jeff. Yeah, we should try that. I didn't try that though. Jeff's nanny, right?
Jeff's nanny, right? Pops up. He was very concerned about getting the right nanny in the series. So I was just like, anyways.
Funny stuff. Well, I think we mentioned it last week, and they're continuing it, and that is the reopening up the investigation right here in Hillsborough County to investigate that murder. He was on TV. I saw him the other day, the sheriff of Hillsborough County, saying that there's definitely more than one person involved in the murder of this person. The missing person is what they're calling it now. So, but crazy stuff for sure.
Crazy. So anyhow, what else we got?
So, as I was getting prepared for this episode, and I started to think, well, how long has it actually been that we've been in this weird coronavirus, alternate universe? I mean, because it definitely feels like, the world has completely been tipped on its ass or its axis.
Yeah.
So I started to go back through our podcasts, and it is kind of cool to be able to use that to mark the time as we kind of move forward. So going back, hard to believe, but back 7 weeks ago, episode 035, I actually started that episode talking about the coronavirus. Let me see if I can't find that real quick, because it was actually kind of funny, the little intro piece to it. Maybe you can. So 7 weeks, hard to believe. And then I think that was the first mention of the coronavirus was episode
35 in Google.
25.
02.
Oh,
wait, that's with Subi Zimmerman.
No, 35 then.
35, yeah, that's the Google Dealer Playbook.
Yeah, I should have had this pulled up already, but we'll just listen real quick.
This episode of the Modern Dealer Podcast, David talks about his trip to the ER. I think I have the coronavirus. We talk about Grant Cardone's headache growth farm.
I think I have the
coronavirus.
Yeah, so that was 7 weeks ago. So we've been dealing with the coronavirus for almost 2 months now, looking at our episodes 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. There's been a conversation around dealing with the coronavirus. To memorialize this again, which I've been doing, looking at 584,000 cases in the U.S., 24,485 deaths so far. But, good news is we like to always look at good news here on the Modern Dealer Podcast. Everybody does feel like that we are starting to plateau, that we are going to start the
flattening the curve,
downward side of the slope, right? So that's really that is good news.
The governor of New York came out yesterday, and he has
Andrew
said
Cuomo.
that. Yep, good old Andrew Cuomo. I love watching him and his brother on go back and forth on CNN. Only a sibling can pull that off, I think but he had said that he feels like we're on the backside of it now, that we flatten the curve, and it seems to be working, the social distancing and everything with that. So maybe one day I'll be back in the studio soon, David, because I'm having separation anxiety. I'm like a dog. When I get on the show like this, I accidentally pee myself because I'm like a dog. When they kind of pee themselves when they're separated for a long time. It's going to happen when I walk back in the office and be like, ah!
Well, you know what? It is weird because I am the only one in the office now. So even though I am, we're under this stay-at-home advisory, this really is my home. I only live like 3 miles away from away. So I'm able to come to the office. Nobody else is here. I'm out in the conference room instead of being back in my office, but it is very strange to be very quiet. And I think a lot of other people are, kind of dealing with that cabin fever as we're going through, all this craziness. I'm sure you're probably feeling exactly the same thing. Even though you have a beautiful place, and I'm sure it's great to be there, but sometimes getting some variety in where you're going is important.
What's cool is so for the healthcare workers, so this has been a thing that happens every 8 p.m. and I guess 8 p.m. everywhere. I don't know if it happens in your neighborhood, but people come out and they start clapping and cheering for the healthcare workers. Does that happen in your neighborhood, in your subdivision?
I have not heard that. But we're kind of spaced out a little bit. So,
well, some subdivisions I've seen some videos of, but in like a downtown atmosphere, and we've got a high rise and we have 300 residents. It's cool because everybody comes out to the balconies and starts clapping and cheering, and they've got air horns and they've got drums they're hitting, and just it's cool.
I heard that Trump thought that was for him. I'm doing such a good job.
Thanks for the 25,000 deaths and ignoring the coronavirus. When you were
oh
told
my goodness!
Times.
I know that we don't like to get political on here, but I couldn't resist.
Well, I'll have to throw in one more thing. It blew me away that I found out that golf courses were essential here in Florida. I wonder why.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's
Thanks,
funny stuff,
Governor. Appreciate that.
Oh anyhow, my goodness! Go ahead.
I actually, now on the coronavirus tip, and I was going to kind of make this part of a new little regiment piece, but I do have a reading recommendation, Bertoncini's Book of the Week.
Book of the Week?
Book of the Week. So this is actually something you probably have not seen, but this is actually by Russell Brunson.
Oh,
and
okay,
this
look
is,
at that, yeah.
If suddenly you lose everything, it's 30days.com. And how to get everything. What would you do from day 1 to day 30 to rebuild? And I'm bringing this up for the Modern Dealer podcast, to rebuild your business 100% online. So this is a book for entrepreneurs. It's a very thick, hardback book. But basically it's stories from the ClickFunnels, the 2 Comma Club. And basically there's about 30 there's about 30 chapters in here, and it's all stories of 2 Comma Club winners that basically said, hey, from day 1, if I lost everything, this is what I would do to rebuild. And I thought the most interesting one that actually fit for our audience would be for, where is it at here? Just wanted to read one little passage from it. I think it's page 86. Yeah. It's called The Dream 100. And it's your Dream 100 clients, the top clients, of where to find your top clients. And the Dream 100 basically starts online. And, going into Facebook groups, as a dealer should be doing right now, if it has no customers coming in through the door, going and engaging in these Facebook groups. Maybe if you're a Toyota store, engage in the Supra groups, engage in your Tacoma groups, your Tundra groups. There's plenty of groups out there like that. But this actually comes from Dana Derricks, and he is ready for this? He is a goat farmer. And he actually coaches. He coaches
greatest of all time farmer.
Yes, yes, not a David farmer, but a goat farmer. But he actually coaches, high ticket entrepreneurs, in the $100,000 1-year coaching program that he puts out there. But he basically said one of the cool things that, and this is going to be one of my little tips here.
Bert's Book of the Week tip.
Book of the Week tip. But basically, he, on day 1, he would actually, from the ashes of your no business, and the only thing you have, it's so funny, the whole purpose is, the only thing you have on day 1 is your ClickFunnels account, food, water, sewage, garbage, a internet connection, and that's it. And you got 30 days. You have no friends, no contacts, no product, no nothing. You're supposed to build something from scratch with just an internet, a funnel account. And he basically said, he would actually, this is something cool that a dealer could do right now. It says, go and document everything of the journey from the ashes up. So right now, this would be an excellent time for a dealer to document, to show the human side of how COVID-19, you can put a positive twist to it, or you can put a sad, Sarah McLachlan, dogs locked up kind of twist. But I would put more of a hey, this is a time to rebuild type twist, and put that out there and use that on your social media postings, moving forward, to show that journey of how your dealership went from, hey, we lost all of our customers. We went from, pacing, the SAR at 17 million down to, oh my God, we're selling nothing a day practically, to, hey, how do we rebuild our business? And to document that journey and show, like, every employee, like, hey, and show it in a positive way. I think people will connect with you because we're humans. We're missing the connection of being around other humans right now. You know,
I agree.
The whole thing with my building, doing that every night is cool. What I wanted to add to it was last Saturday night, I guess it was some girl's birthday, and her boyfriend went out on our parking garage, and everybody can look down to see the parking garage on the top floor, and basically played a 2-hour concert on his guitar and sang. And the whole building was cheering every song he ended. He played a little Bon Jovi. He played a little 80s. He played a little 90s. He played all over the place. But it was cool, man. It was actually really awesome, and a way that humans need each other. So document the journey.
Yep. I think that's a great idea. That's one of the things that Gary Vaynerchuk has been saying for years, is to document whatever your journey is. Whatever your story is, tell that story. And I think that's one thing that I would like to be able to do myself too, is to be able to document it. I think I mentioned that a couple weeks ago on the podcast, to be able to create another channel, or, another YouTube a channel, to be able to create content around a business person, an entrepreneur going through, this scenario. And I think dealers can be doing exactly the same thing, and really understanding. And you also bring up another good point too, with, how to communicate during this COVID-19 pandemic, right? We know that it's very difficult. One of the things that I've seen from a shift standpoint is the types of commercials that we're seeing on TV right now. We do see this kind of very sad type of music, and this very the type of conversation is very serious. And while I think that's important to be able to address what's going on, but really looking towards the future and looking towards the solution as a way to advertise, instead of just saying, yeah, I know everybody's sick. Everybody's, this is a very sad time. And it's a very serious time. And we know that you're stuck at home and blah, blah, blah. But, from a dealership standpoint, I think documenting the journey, going through the process is a great way to connect with potential customers, whether they're looking at buying a car now or at some point in the future, but also to put out the messages out there on social media, on paid media, about what you're doing to make it easier for people. Not saying because of COVID-19, but just, what those elements are. And I think that's one of the things I want to bring up a little bit later in the podcast is the idea of adding transparency into your sales process, whether that's selling vehicles, whether it's selling F&I products. One of our good friends, Lloyd Truschel, he'd been on the podcast before. He recently wrote an article in F&I and Showroom magazine back early last month called Transparency. And I want to be chatting about that a little bit later in the podcast. But a few other pieces I wanted to discuss in our first segment is that we were talking about politics a little bit earlier, and we talked about the CARES Act on last episode with Reggie, which first of all, let's take a second and let's give Reggie a round of applause and thank him for taking time and visiting with us. It was a great episode. Really enjoyed that. But we did talk about the CARES Act and what some business people are going through right now, trying to get that support. I'm going through that exact same thing right now. I bank with a larger bank, but they just happen to have an office that's very close to my office here. And I've gotten really nowhere with them being able to get any type of that paycheck assistance program, paycheck protection program. They're just saying that we don't have everything in place, that we don't have the ability to do it. We'll get back in touch with you later this week, early next week. That's kind of where I'm at with that right now. So I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to get that. I'd love to hear anybody that's watching or listening to the podcast about your successes or failures with the CARES Act. If you've been able to get any of that assistance. I've heard on the news that they've already given away like $2.5 billion through that program. I can't even get to first base, but
I did my application today. If that's
okay,
anything.
there you go.
Yeah. So my business accounts, are through Navy Federal as being a previous military. So I keep my Navy Federal accounts and run my business through Navy Federal. And I needed some assistance doing it because the only reason is my login. Usually I log in personal and then click over to business. So I had to just do a business login. But did the application. It's a very thin application. It's literally 4 pages. And the first page is mostly all the input. The rest is just initial here and check this box. But page 1 is input. Page 2 and 3 is initial and check. And page 4, I think it's just sign a disclosure and that's it. Electronically sign, upload some documents, send it off, and that's first base. And then they'll handle that from there. So we'll see how that goes. So
awesome. Well, I wish you good luck with that.
I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, I think we were able to do the online application part, but we've gotten no feedback other than just doing that piece.
Well, the online application, was it through your bank? Through
the bank.
Yeah. So I did that part. So it was through the bank, and then I guess they send it up and through the chain and goes from there. So should be fairly easy for everybody, I guess.
Yep. So there's 2 other things I wanted to cover in this first segment, kind of picking up when we were just talking about, and that is advertising during this COVID pandemic. And I wanted to share something I saw online, It was actually in a Facebook group that I'm a part of, that I share our Modern Dealer podcast with that group. But they had a hold on. I don't. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is I'll share this as we're doing it, but I don't know if you've seen one of the things I've seen recently.
Oh, I saw that on the slides.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that has been tearing up the internet lately was the Queen, when she made her address, very serious address, but she happened to be wearing a green dress, which gave people like me the ability to use that as a green screen.
Oh.
That's what I did. So I have her wearing us as a T-shirt, the Modern Dealer
Nice.
podcast. So anyways, I thought that was pretty funny. But what I was trying to bring up, if I can get back there, is this right here, which I'll pop up so everybody can see it. So this is time-sensitive direct mail, and with this is, I'll just, if you can go ahead and get to that page on,
I'm on it.
the okay, cool. So that is
COVID-19 stimulus assistance direct
a
mail.
dealership used this as a way to leverage COVID-19 to try to drive some traffic. So it says right on the front, time-sensitive mail, open immediately, COVID-19 stimulus assistance. So everybody that's opening this thing, of course, they're waiting to get a check. Everybody is in, very, they're going through a difficult time right now. Some people more than others. And this dealership thought it would be a good idea to use that as a way to advertise their dealership. So anyways, in poor taste, the way that they used it, they ended up getting over 350 one-star reviews on Google My Business.
Wow.
So the way that they used it is they did it, from a deceptive standpoint, thinking that I'm going to open this up and I'm going to get my stimulus check. I don't get my stimulus check. I end up seeing a breaking the bank
sales event,
direct mail sales
you
event.
could win a 2020 Jeep Renegade attitude. Whoa, well, thanks, Dix, for giving me the fake bullshit.
Yes.
It could have been, you could have used the direct mail. You could have said, last episode of Tiger King, that would have been funny. So it would have been like, oh,
right?
Shit, what is this? And they would have actually opened it up and they said, you know what? That's pretty damn funny.
Yeah.
They
time-sensitive material. Carol,
yes.
Information, time-sensitive information with Carol Baskins and the murder of her late husband.
And somebody opened it up and like, what is this? And they're like, oh, hey, just to let you know, we have, if you mention Tiger King and you come to the dealership, you'll get an additional, $500 off the vehicle. Bam. See, I just came up with a good piece right there.
There you go. Absolutely. Run a Facebook event on that, right? One other thing I wanted to cover real quick and see if I can open this up. I don't think I can, but we'll include this link down at the bottom. It's a pretty cool little article listing, really not an article, but on Edmunds.com, listing out all of the different financing and special options that are available right now that manufacturers are doing to stimulate car sales, including 120 days payment deferments, 0% financing for up to 84 months in some cases. Some manufacturers are also offering some special financing for certified vehicles, different type of payment deferments. So there are a lot of there's a lot of different financing specials out there right now that you could really be utilizing as a way to communicate and build interest for the dealership instead of look inside for your stimulus check.
So where's everybody's eyes other than CNN and such? If you have to take a break from the news, and then you most likely may go onto Facebook or wherever your platform of escape is. And that platform of escape, if it was Facebook right now or Instagram, the ad cost right now, because everybody has, said, This is all happening. Let's cut everything in half. Let's cut our budgets. Everything gets chopped in half, right? Because everybody goes into constriction mode. But as I said last week, those dealers that are, out there, then they said, hey, I'm going to take advantage of, I'm a little store, but, I've got some ability right now to take advantage of the market. Facebook's, CTA right now, I mean, it is as much as a gallon of gas. I mean, it's so cheap. Ridiculously cheap to grab a customer right now. So if you're not advertising on Facebook right now, you are missing the bus, because since Facebook's came out with the ads platform in 2010, I do believe, from what I understand, the prices were not even this low when it came out. Wow. Because nobody's on there. So supply high, demand low.
Yep, we're seeing the same thing. We also see and I think everybody's seeing that right now. Is if you've seen kind of the quality of the commercials on TV, whether it's a news broadcast or any other type of TV, you're seeing the commercials, but you can really see that the quality of the commercials are running low, whether it's, people advertising, for like the late night TV type of, buy it now, and then you can get this, type of thing. I've seen that as well. But very good point that, a lot of dealerships have some opportunity to stay in the game. You can get a lot more impressions, whether it's Google ads, whether it's Facebook ads, whether it's YouTube. A lot of great ways to engage with customers digitally. We're 26 minutes into the first segment of the Modern Dealer Podcast episode.
Where did the time go?
It's crazy. But on the other side of the break, what our main topic is going to be is providing a digital retailing checklist. A lot of dealerships are considering a digital retailing right now. They're kind of pushing them into being able to provide a digital first sales process. So I've come up with, I think, 9 or 10 items that you want to use as a checklist when you're making a determination of what technology platform that you want to utilize. So stay with us. We'll be right back after the break, and we'll get into that. All right, we're going to do a quick overview of TradeMaker from Entice. With TradeMaker, you have the ability to allow your customer to get their KBB trade value on your dealership website instantly, and also request an express cash offer. As you can see, the customer has the ability to upload images of their vehicle. We can incentivize the trade appraisal appointment visit with a custom Visa reward card. That is optional. Now we're going to share the Kelley Blue Book value instantly, and then the customer does have the ability to let you know what vehicle they're considering next, and also schedule the appointment at your dealership by selecting the day part, and time. We complete the process by providing a trade appraisal appointment or a trade appraisal certificate that includes the express cash offer requested notification right there. And this is where it gets really cool. Now your management team at your dealership is going to receive an urgent express cash offer request from our system with the customer's information, the vehicle information, and then also the actual images uploaded by the customer. Now, to complete the process at the dealership, all your management has to do is follow the link in the email, enter in the express cash offer you would like to make to your customer, sign it with your digital signature and password, and then approve the offer to be submitted to the customer. The customer is then going to receive an express cash offer email from you that includes the information directly in the email and an express cash offer certificate. So that was a super fast overview of TradeMaker featuring express cash offer. Welcome back into the Modern Dealer Podcast, episode 042. And let's just take a second, 42 episodes. I mean, I think that puts us at 9 months or something. I mean, this is pretty crazy.
We could have gave birth, David, Oh my God, David.
Ew.
Ew, David, we could have gave birth. But you know what? Hey,
yeah, we didn't even talk about that. It's over. Schitt's
Yes, I
Creek
know it's over.
is over.
That-
Have you been watching? Did you watch the final season, or did you not make it to that point yet?
I've not made it that far, but what I did do is I did purchase for May 24th, right around the corner from me here at the Mahaffey Theater, the Schitt's Creek tour. I did get my tickets, which right now it is postponed, but we'll find out when they'll reschedule that. Speaking of rescheduling, part of my notes today was the countdown to May 1st, which I felt like we were kind of getting into a little bit of a countdown. And Dave and I were just talking about on the break, you know, do you feel like we're going to reopen? You know, things are going to be back to at least removing the social distancing on May 1st. Today is really, it's 15 and a wake-up call because there's only 30 days in this month. Today's 14th, so it's 15 and a wake-up. If you're military like me, it's, you know, what are we going to do when you decide if we can reopen the doors, and how, you know, how fast and how hard are you going to reopen those doors? It's one thing it's constantly on my mind. Every day I wake up and I'm thinking about that. I'm like, what are these stores going to do? I mean, what is their plan of action? It's just going to be the old, and they said it in this 30days.com. They said, if you build it, they will come, which is a bunch of bullshit. You've got to push the advertising. You can build the greatest Taj Mahal, and if nobody knows where it's at, nobody's going to find you.
Like that old advertising saying is like, not advertising is like winking in the dark. You know you're there doing it, but nobody else does. I love that.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
I will have to give it a quick plug though, but for this quick plug, you know, for those that are the first time catching our show, the Modern Dealer Podcast, I do want to say, since this is episode 042, you can always check us out and hit subscribe and turn on notifications.
Ding!
To get those previous 41 episodes pop up to you, and of course special editions that we do periodically with special guests and everything like that. So if you're new, please subscribe. Check us out on iTunes, YouTube. Join us on Facebook. Jump in the conversation. We are over 200 subscribers, and we've got 10 weeks, David, to get to that 1,000 mark. So we got to hustle up. Share it with your friends. Tell your other dealers. Share it with your 20 group. Let everybody know that, like, hey, you know what? These guys are from the business and they know what the hell they're talking about. It's just not just, you know, a couple advertisers that are speculating that have never sold a fucking car in their life, because it's like teaching surfing. If you never fucking been on a surfboard, you can't fucking teach it.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Right. Very good point.
In the words of Forrest Gump, that's all I'll say about that.
With that, then let's move into our main topic, which is digital retailing. So as another little commercial, Entice as a technology provider, we supply digital retailing technologies to the automotive space. But really what I wanted to do is, whether you're considering Entice, whether you already have a digital retailing a technology solution in place, whether you're trying to make a decision whether or not to make the leap, what I wanted to do was come up with 10 questions to ask yourself when selecting a digital retailing application. And I just wanted to kind of chat about those different things real quick. So the first one is, does your digital retailing technology reside on your dealership website, or does it require a new website, or like a subdomain where it's really a new website that you're providing? And I think that's one of the big things, is that one thing that we've learned in automotive is that we want to keep customers on our dealership website as much as possible. So if we're able to get them to our site, really the last thing that we want to do is push them away. So when considering a digital retailing application, I would be looking for one that resides right on the dealership's website, that keeps the customer right there engaging through the process, that you're not taking that customer away into another website and just hoping that they return to your site. You're paying too much money to get those customers to your dealership's website. So that'd be the first thing. That'd be the first thing that I would check.
Well, I mean, it's just like a Facebook advertisement. Facebook does not want you to leave Facebook.
Yeah.
YouTube does not want you to leave YouTube. Instagram they want you to stay on the platform. So as a dealer, clearly you want to keep that customer on your platform and constantly taking the next step through your sales funnel on your website.
Yep.
Boom.
All right. And this is so number 2 is a big one. And this is, can your customer get a hard number on their trade? And this is kind of a big deal, right? Because if you are a customer and you are really considering making a purchase and you're doing all that research, one of the biggest numbers in the entire calculation of a deal, and really the most personal number in the entire transaction, is going to be that value of that trade vehicle. So having the ability to get a hard number, a real figure on the car, is going to be extremely important to be able to provide a real digital first transaction online. So you have to ask yourself and what I would also recommend is, when you're making these considerations, take the time, go to your website right now, take your personal vehicle and go through the appraisal process that you have on your dealership website and rate the experience. How long does it take? How many clicks does a customer have to take? How much friction is in the process for a customer to get that trade value? And are we allowing the customer to kind of personalize that experience when the customer is getting their trade value online?
I like those tools, as for example, in TradeMaker, that you'll get a range, and then you have the opportunity as a dealer to actually reach out to that customer and maybe even take it to the next level and tell them, Mr. Customer, I'm going to call you from my cell phone. Let's FaceTime. Why don't you show me, I had a couple questions about the tires. So maybe if you can go out with a penny and just put it right there to the tires for me, get the customer involved like that. That might just win you over versus another dealership. Or Carvana or somebody like that. And you can say, you can even then get an opportunity. They might just spill the beans and say, well, Carvana gave me 10 grand. I'm like, well, Mr. Customer, we feel this is a 10.5 vehicle. Can we have your vehicle for 10.5? You got the opportunity there to really personalize it, like you said.
Yeah, so a lot of customers, there's 2 things that I want to bring up with that. We're going to kind of go off script a little bit here. The first thing is, the first thing I wanted to bring up is, we know that times are tough. I don't think there's very many dealerships that are still selling the same amount of cars that they were selling before. So many dealerships have furloughed or laid off employees. We see AutoNation laying out 10,000 people. You see Asbury, 7,500 people, just thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people in the automotive industry in the US being laid off. Dealerships are not performing at the same levels they were a month ago. Every single opportunity that a dealership gets, we really have to embrace that opportunity. 2-3 months ago, a dealership could be successful just by really looking at the cream at the top, right? Let me do my cherry picking. Let me take the easy leads. But nowadays, you're empty.
They got to get Nowadays, the dealer's got to get to the bottom of the cup. I'm giving a visual on your explanation.
You got to dig in.
At the top, man. Yeah, you got to go down.
No, you have to dig in. So
coffee grinds are in the bottom. You got to dig through the grinds, man.
You got to work through the grinds, right? You got to grind it.
Exactly.
So the reality is that you have to take every single opportunity that you get. One way to do that is to really engage with customers as they are visiting your website, as they're submitting leads for trade values, is get involved with them. Now, if it were me, what I would be doing is I would be doing the legwork, get that customer's vehicle information, go to Carvana.com, put it in, see what Carvana would pay for that vehicle. Put it in. That's what I would be doing.
Nice.
Put it into instant cash offer, get the instant cash offer for that vehicle, put it into TrueCar and get that value. And then if it's a vehicle that you want to take in trade, that it's going to be important to be able to do that, give a higher number. And then you have the ability to do that. So now you can give yourself an unfair advantage when it comes to the trade by doing the legwork, being creative in ways, and maybe even tell the customer, okay, so what I was able to find out is that Carvana is willing to pay you 10.2 for the car. CarMax is willing to pay you 10.9 for the car. We love this car. We really need this car. We need inventory right now. We're willing to pay you 11.7 for the vehicle, whether you purchase a vehicle or not. And then move into the process of the sales process, right? So one of the things that I've been really trying to consolidate was the idea of how can a dealership really embrace with digital retailing. And I really like the idea of kind of renaming it. And that is a digital first sales process where customers are engaging with the digital aspects of the process, but it all is going to lead into a conversation, face-to-face
Right.
conversation, whether it's going to be at the dealership, over a Zoom call, or over a FaceTime, over a phone call, or over texting or messaging of some sort. But there's always going to be that communication or person-to-person communication. It's going to start digitally, where there's not going to be that two-way conversation, but ultimately it's going to get to that. Now, the other thing I wanted to bring up when you were chatting a little bit there was about leveraging FaceTime, right? Where you can
Mm-hmm.
use a phone to communicate with somebody. One of the things I have noticed a lot with dealerships right now on Instagram, on Facebook, is they are including a FaceTime phone number for dealers to connect with them. So instead of just having a messenger or chat service on your website, or have the ability to be able to do some sort of video call, actually have a FaceTime phone number that customers can call you and FaceTime with you. Not very expensive to do. You can, what we do, I know for our standpoint, we have a company phone. This is, our support phone. So we have the ability to take support calls remotely as well with the company phone. I would recommend dealerships do the same thing. Get a company phone, have that as an inbound phone number for people that can, has the ability to do FaceTime calls. What do you think of that, David?
I think that's a great idea. Or you can actually even do that with an iPad with with its own phone number.
Sure.
That's it's cellular iPad. Give that number out and connect with customers, and then you've got a nice big piece in your hand that you can pass around to the store. But just have somebody dedicated, like a dedicated salesperson that just handles those FaceTime handoffs. Because
not even a dedicated, one dedicated salesperson. Train your team to do this. You're talking about 15 days in a wake up. So what does that mean? Today, you need to be changing the way that you sell cars. You're not going to sell cars the same way that you did last year. 2 months ago, it has changed, and it's going to be a different sales process. Customers are going to demand it. They're getting comfortable with Zoom. They're getting comfortable with FaceTime, which they've never been before. But now we have to train our salespeople on how to do it. So this actually brings up a really good idea, David. Maybe we were a little. We were talking about this a little bit before dealers were really ready to do it. But if you remember, about 4 or 5 months ago, we were talking about Cadillac Live.
Yeah. I saw that in the slides there. Yeah, and that was a really nice experience. Is they would have it set up so they can't see the customer, but the customer can see the representative from the Cadillac central showroom, and then they would pass it on to the dealer, which was that was a really cool piece. I was thinking about the same thing too. But you could make it more personal, like you said, and obviously connect with them with FaceTime and get out to the cars, because the people, that's what they want to see. They want to see the inventory.
Mm-hmm.
They want to connect with you. Maybe find a little bit of common ground, just like taking it up, man. So that iPad or that iPhone, whatever that tool is going to be, needs to be basically, that's your new front door. That's your new, here's your new up bus right here. This is the new up bus. So let that be your new up bus, or it's going to be your iPhone, one of the two. That's going to be the new up bus. And when that customer engages with you right there, make it a fun experience for them. Hey, Mr. Customer, thank you so much for connecting with us. How are you today? Can we send you another episode of the Tiger King?
Yep. Well, what's really interesting is that, before all this started 7 weeks ago, doing a video call with somebody was a weird experience for a lot of people. They weren't, even today, I am doing video presentations, selling products over the internet, and still a lot of people are uncomfortable sharing their video screen. But but that's changing now. And once you get comfortable, like us right now, I mean, I feel like I'm having a face-to-face conversation with you, which, you know, a few months ago, we wouldn't have done this,
Been
right?
able to do. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you remember that episode you shared, those old commercials, the AT&T one, like, in the future, we'll be able to be on the beach with a conference. And it was a guy, and it was from like, what was it, 1992 or 1990 that video was? It was early 90s, but that was really interesting. But the cool thing, I will have to get on and off subject. You saw SNL on Saturday, right?
Right. Zoom.
Yeah, they had that whole Zoom. Yeah,
that
whole Zoom skit, which was hilarious. I think that was probably the best skit, was the Zoom skit.
Yeah.
That one and the post quarantine dating show.
Yeah, it was funny. It was like, am I doing this the right way? Is this right?
No, David, you've got to back up.
That was hilarious.
It was hilarious. And then she took it with her to the bathroom, and she's getting on the toilet like, no, don't do that. And she's like, oh, can you still see me?
Yeah, that's funny stuff. So with that, people are getting more comfortable with Zoom meetings, right? So this is what Zoom. I would do. This is what I would be doing right now. Is we know we have reduced staff. We don't have as many people walking in the front door. What are you doing right now to change the way that you're selling cars? I've already mentioned this a few times, this little setup right here. but I'm going to mention it again. And I want
SV88.
Yeah, MV88, right?
MV88, yep.
But I want to think about, kind of set the stage. Let's say you have a showroom, and previously you had it set up to be able to accommodate a bunch of people coming into the dealership showroom, right? Mm-hmm. Think about it this way now. Get an example. Try to get as many vehicles in the dealership showroom as you can, with still having the ability to have some movement around. So if you're a Toyota dealership, I mean, that's our background, so I always go to that. But you have a Corolla, you have a Camry, you have a Tundra, you have a Tacoma, you have a RAV4, you have a Highlander, you have all your, especially your core vehicles. And maybe right out front, you have a representative of each vehicle. And then think about, normally in the way that we communicate with customers, when we got somebody on the phone or when we were communicating with a chat or email, the goal was just get them in, right? Mm-hmm. Just get them in. So change the goal into engage them into the selling process. How can you engage them to the selling process? Move them into a trade appraisal online. Move them into a product presentation online. How can you do a product presentation? Go back and watch our Cadillac Live episode, see how Cadillac was doing it, but do it using Zoom. Move people to a Zoom call. The customer can choose to share his camera or not share it, but you still have the ability to be able to do a walk-around presentation and a vehicle selection right through Zoom with one of these, with the customer. It's very easy to be able to walk around and to be able to talk to the customer and or flip the camera and be able to do a full product presentation. People are getting used to being able to communicate through Zoom. This gives you the ability to move the customer into the sales process and really become into the digital retailing. Digital retailing is not just about calculating a payment. Digital retailing really is about selling and being sold and participating in the shopping process. So I think dealers really
digital retailing,
right? Yes, absolutely.
Right there's your digital retailing Bible right there of what to do, and on this being day 14 in your digital rebuild for your dealership and converting your process to all digital. David, we grew up in the car business in the 90s, and then of course, like you said a few minutes ago, just get them in was the thing. Back then, it was like we didn't want to give the customer all the information. And of course, Grant Cardone introduced us to the information-based selling. So now it's digital first sales process is that we're have been forced, dealers have been forced into it, and those that don't go into it clearly are not going to be the ones that survive, that come out on the other side of the corona virus pandemic. But the good news is those that adopt and create new habits and a fully digital sales process, being able to present a vehicle and not being scared that like, oh, if I do all this work, the customer is just going to go up the street. I'm like, Dick, if you don't do all the work, they're still going to go up the street. So better to at least to be in the game than completely just saying, oh, fuck it. I did, not even trying. And then just, laying on your back like a dead cockroach and just giving up. So the good news is engage in it, make this part of your culture and the culture of transparency, just like Lloyd's article, talked about. There's, several layers to an onion of transparency. Let this be part of your transparency in this digital first process. So
yeah,
love it.
And so, talking about Lloyd's article, that's an F9 Showroom Magazine. We'll include the link in our show notes. I read through the article, a lot of great information. One of the things that he talks about is the idea of what transparency is. As he started to write the article, I think he said that he really wanted to talk about, how digital retailing how transparency is playing a role with this digital retailing experiences that customers are looking to go through right now. But really, transparency even goes back further than that. It really becomes this culture of transparency and truthfulness in the way that you sell. He uses a great example of a dealership that has had incredible growth over the last 36 years, 33 out of 36 years. They've won the President's Award, or the whatever the President's equivalent award is. They've had year over year growth almost every single year for the last 36 years. They run 70% VSC penetration. But very successful, profitable company, and they do it in a one price environment.
Yes.
Both on for the sale of the car and the sale of products. So that
and their slogan was "Everybody gets the same deal." Was been their slogan since 1997. Is basically when that kind of went over to that program. It was a dealer in Alabama, is what they're talking about. And maybe in that small town environment, it goes over better. But I mean, right now, guess what? You're a small town environment at your dealership because you can't have more than 10 people in the showroom. So instantly, now you're a small town dealer through the pandemic. And so, this social distancing is over, then you've got the opportunity to 10x again. But going back to, David, actually, I did like what you're talking about with putting as many cars in the showroom as possible. Well, remember, to create more social distance, you're probably going to get rid of a few desks. And I've seen a lot of businesses get rid of, restaurants when they were going down to fewer people, they were getting rid of tables and stuff. So cool. Then get rid of a couple of those desks, then you can just plug more and more cars in the showroom, and you've got your digital showroom right there, ready and available to rock and roll.
Yeah. So, and if you have, however many people, 3 people, 7 people that are product experts. Now, we've talked about the idea of process experts versus product experts, but here's an opportunity where we could leverage our salespeople as product experts to be able to do walk around presentations, really creating a wow experience for customers right online. I mean, just think about how your customer would react if you said to them, hey, I know that you're considering a Camry. I just happen to have one in the showroom. I'd like to be able to do a product presentation for you, answer any questions that you might have for the vehicle. Would you be interested in learning a little bit more about the Camry? And then move them into a device like this. And it can just be a phone too, as you're walking around, but do a full product presentation. That's going to stick with that customer, and they're going to have a story to tell. It's like, I can't believe it. I just started chatting with somebody, and then we moved on to a Zoom meeting, and they did a full product presentation on the vehicle. As I was watching them, I had questions. They were able to answer it for me. This is the type of place I want to do business with, is somebody that's willing to go that extra mile. And we have the ability to do it as dealers, right?
I have to bring up one more completely maybe off-color example, because I'm the king of off-color examples. But think about this. In the early 2000s, it was very taboo to meet your significant other online, right? It was like you were frowned upon, like, oh, where'd you guys meet? Online.
All right.
Like,
yeah. True.
They kind of were like, ew, really?
Yeah.
Now it's like, if you didn't meet online, you didn't really meet anywhere.
Yeah. So what did you do? Meet them at a bar? Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah.
Now it's a complete 20 years later. Here it is completely opposite. But back in
Yep.
2000, if you met somebody online, it was frowned upon. But now, here it is. Back in 2000, when we're trying to sell cars online, AutoNation and different companies like that, it was frowned upon. Well, now is the time to be selling clearly online when it's no longer going to be frowned
Yep.
upon. Like, ooh, you guys met online. Ooh, you bought your car online. Now it's like, well, you went to the dealership to buy a car? People are going to look at you like you're fucking nuts. You're like, ew, what is wrong with you? Did you pick up the Corona when you were there?
Yeah.
No, I did it completely through FaceTime. We did everything. We did a digital sign. It was the best experience I've ever had. And guess what? Remember I talked about earlier, document the process. You're going to document. That's going to be part of your from the ashes to success story.
Yeah. So I tell you, acres to diamonds, right? What I'm going to do, so obviously we're not going to have time to get through 8 more questions. I'm going to include the checklist for digital retailing. I'm not even going to go through them, but it's really going to kind of go through the process and the questions that you should be asking, how you are going to allow a customer to really engage with you through the sales process. I think a lot of times the technology providers in the space are losing the fact that a vehicle transaction is something that happens between 2 people. The salesperson's role in the purchase of a vehicle is important. The relationship that a customer has with the people at the dealership is probably the most important part of why a customer is choosing to do business with one dealership over another. So great checklist to go through. We got
how are we on time?
We got 3 minutes. So let's go ahead and move into Bert's 3 tips.
All right. Well, I was actually I was excited about the 10 points to look for on digital retailing. But as you said, we'll let you guys please check it out in the show notes and see a couple of the good points that David came up with. But my tip, as I got from my goat farmer that I found in that 30 days to retail, is really document this journey right now. This is the time for you as a dealer to show your human side. And don't put the Sarah McLachlan twist to it, like, in the arms of an angel with the dying dogs at the place. Don't make it sad. Just make it like, hey, look, this is what we're doing other than wiping everything down. But, hey, we're retraining our employees to get better at FaceTime. And you might show your oldest employee, and he's got like the old rotary phone in his hand. And he's like, what's FaceTime? Make something funny out of it, right? You might be like,
right.
Oh, you just take that employee and do something like that. Building, now, as you're talking about bringing all the cars into the showroom, guess what? Salespeople, you need to be building yourself an inventory of your own inventory on your own YouTube channel of video walk-arounds. So you can just zip to the customer real fast and keep them very current. Like every month, do a new Corolla walk-around, because you know what? Your last walk-around wasn't as good as your current walk-around. Or your first walk-around, you get better with time. The more walk-arounds you do, the better you get. So have an inventory of like, hey, today I'm going to do a new Prius walk-around or a new
and
Corvette.
Keeping that fresh, right?
Yeah. Keeping it fresh and just repost it, right?
Just like when we were selling cars, one of the things that we were trained to do is to do a daily inventory walk. Know what's out there, what's in your inventory. And let's add to that for 2020, make a walk around video daily. Great tip, David. Last
one is salespeople. This is a tip to you salespeople once again. Your dealer's most likely not advertising. You're probably one of the dealers that have, they've cut your budgets. So what can you do? Obviously, then posting yourself and advertising yourself the best you can. If you have some, discretionary income that you could spend on this, but learn Facebook ads and learn how to basically post your own ads for yourself. Let them know like, hey, we're open for business. I am your salesperson in your local market. And you can just basically on your own business Facebook page, boost your own post about yourself. Because you know what? Nobody's coming in through the front door really. But at least if you could boost yourself as that safe go-to salesperson, hey, I've been here for 30 years and just want to let you know, Mr. Customer, that I am here to serve you. Just send me, you can just FaceTime me and I'll help you purchase a vehicle. Let that be your own advertisement. Put that out there, because if your dealer's not doing it for you, you don't have a shit show chance of selling a car unless you do something that is way out of the box thinking like that. And that's my 3 tips.
All right. So I think, actually we're still recording. We just lost one of the cameras over here. So we're good to go. We're going to finish it on Zoom for David.
And David.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
If I were gonna, if somebody wanted to kill you, then they would put like sardine oil all over you, something that the cat wants to eat, not something the cat wants to drool on.